Hey, how y'all doing this morning? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian. Um, I spent the last 4 years traveling around the entire country, and I realized I think I have quite a story to tell. Meeting people across the country. Uh, Reason more I'd like to speak is I noticed that, well, we all know politics, right? Everybody hates each other. Left hates the right, right hates the left. And I'd say that my experience has showed me otherwise. Right now, I'm traveling from LA to Jacksonville. Had a stop in Salt Lake City. Um, but it's just, I have a map where I will go 2,000 different locations in 4 or 5 months. I started in January. I was going all the Raising Canes in the country, going a bunch of Columbia Sportswear, Dash Marts, DoorDash. Honestly, when I first heard of it, I was like, they said, hey, we need you to go to all these DoorDashes and tag their equipment. I'm like, DoorDashes? What are you talking about? Isn't it a car service? Like, no, they have supermarkets. You'd be traveling around. Um, so basically, what I do commercial photography, spatial mapping, and asset tagging. For any of those who've ever seen those little QR codes on equipment that say scan for service. And if you're wondering how they get there, that's me, traveling all over the place with this big bundle of stickers, taking pictures of everything. I gotta say, in my job, social media has honestly killed my job. It's made it infinitesimally hard to do my job. Um, Basically, when you're busting out a camera, taking pictures of everything, most people get weary. Whenever I do travel, whenever I do travel to stores, to be honest, the place where I get most shit, um, I'd say would be big cities, a little small town. Some people say, hey, what you taking pictures of? And I'll tell them, oh, it's this and this. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. But any big city I go to, I can't even bother to try to explain to people exactly. Okay, I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to do my job. I'm trying to get this done. And, it really doesn't matter. I've noticed, unfortunately, a lot of people in bigger cities tend to be very close-minded, narcissistic. I try to tell people sometimes, hey, you know what? I ain't taking pictures of you. I'm just trying to do my job, trying to get my stuff done. But, you know, I guess it is what it is. What it is. Although I can't honestly say that that's always my mindset, because I try to be a friendly person, but there are some days where I don't know if y'all feel you just go off on the inside. I'm getting tachycardia. I'm just like, oh, this guy right here. Um, and obviously, it ain't good for my health, but it's something I work with. And I think I'm gonna spend the next while starting to kind of talk about my what I go through, my job. It might be interesting this time. Some other people, I'm sure, in the comments will be like, oh, we don't really give a shit. And you know what, it's cool. uh, I just figured I'd like to give my perspective, especially I'll be posting a couple videos of the views, the scenery. I was just actually passing by Utah Lake earlier, and I gotta say, there are a lot of beautiful places in this country that I think most people don't even realize we have it. Every time I always hear people going on trips, like, hey, we're gonna go out to Europe, we're gonna go out here, and I think a lot of times most people don't realize how amazing this country is. How much, the scenery, the people. I lived in Europe for about 6 years, down in Germany. I actually speak fluent German, which you know, it's a plus. German, Spanish, English, broken French. My wife's trying to teach me Russian, but it's going. My wife actually, she teaches Chinese. She's a Russian, so a lot of times when we go out and she starts speaking, fluent Chinese, You know, having blonde hair and blue eyes, most people look like, what the hell? But yeah, so what I was going to is, you know, when I travel around a lot, I noticed that the United States has a lot of culture, even though I know most people say, oh, you know, Americans or white people, they ain't got no culture, or say what you want to say, but I'm sorry, this country has a lot of beautiful things to offer. Um, if one could be a little bit more open-minded. I'll admit myself, sometimes I'm also closed-minded. As I said earlier, you know, sometimes I'll go to big cities and I'll be like, oh my God, I got to deal with these people. And it'll close me off from, you know, wanting to actually learn about what other people go through, how other people live, you know. I used to be actually very close-minded about the South, you know, when I'm thinking Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia. And I used to feel like, oh, you know, it's just a bunch of rednecks, bunch of hicks, you know. And in the last few years, I've actually made a lot of friends down there. And I got to say, you meet some of the friendliest people out there. You know, I've gotten I've gotten invites just to, you know, hey, come out to a cookout with us. We're gonna go have a barbecue and so to somebody I just met, you know, hours before. And it's, you know, it's amazing what type of people you'll meet. So I said, you know, I'll be updating videos, and we'll see where it goes. You know, I'm not the best talker, but I try. And well, it'll be a little adventure be taken. So y'all have a good day.